What's up, Vikings Nation? Are you ready for a move that could completely shake up the future of the Minnesota Vikings? Because today's Noticias dos Minnesota Vikings news might be flying under the radar, but if this actually happens, it could change everything at the quarterback position in Minnesota. There's a name being quietly connected to the Vikings that nobody is talking about loud enough. And trust me, when insiders start whispering instead of shouting, that's when things get really interesting. Stick with me, because this potential move could redefine the entire direction of the franchise. According to reports, including comments from ESPN insider Jeremy Fowler, there's growing belief around the league that a pairing between the Minnesota Vikings and GENO Smith actually makes a lot of sense. And once you break it down financially and strategically, it's hard not to see why. Right now, the Vikings are clearly in the market for a new signal caller. The quarterback situation is one of the biggest storylines surrounding the Minnesota Vikings this offseason, and the front office knows they can't afford to get this wrong. The pressure is real. GENO Smith is currently tied to the Las Vegas Raiders, but the situation there is complicated. He's due $18.5 million in guaranteed money in 2026, with another $8 million that locks in early in the new league year. That financial structure makes his future uncertain. And here's where it gets strategic. Fowler described Smith as a potential bridge quarterback option. That means he could stabilize the position while still allowing the Vikings to evaluate their young quarterback situation without forcing a dramatic decision too soon. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Vikings don't have a ton of salary cap flexibility right now. That makes trading for Smith tricky. Minnesota would likely need to wait for him to hit the open market. For that to happen, the Raiders would have to release him. And here's where things get fascinating, Vikings fans. There's a real pathway for that scenario. The Raiders currently hold the first overall pick in the upcoming draft. If they decide to take a quarterback at number 1, that instantly puts GENO Smith's job in jeopardy. Teams rarely pay veteran money when they're preparing to hand the keys to a rookie. There's been speculation that they could target a top quarterback prospect with that first selection. While draft situations can always shift, the logic is simple. New regime, new rookie quarterback, new direction. And if the Raiders move on, the Vikings could benefit in a massive way. Because here's the twist that makes the storyline even more compelling. Head coach Clint Kubiak has already been part of a major GENO Smith decision before. Last offseason, when he joined the Seattle Seahawks as offensive coordinator, he was involved in the transition away from Smith as the team pivoted to a new quarterback plan. That prior connection matters. Coaches like familiarity. They like knowing what a quarterback can and cannot do inside their system. And Kubiak understands Smith's strengths. From a financial perspective, if the Raiders release Smith, they would save around $8 million against the cap. But a trade would create even larger savings, potentially making them motivated to move him quickly. However, the most realistic scenario many around the league see is a release. And if that happens, this is where things get very interesting for the Minnesota Vikings. Because of offset language in contracts, if Smith were cut, the Raiders would still be responsible for a large chunk of his guaranteed money. That opens the door for the Vikings to sign him to a much more team-friendly deal. Imagine getting a veteran quarterback with playoff experience at a bargain price. That's the kind of move that allows you to build the roster elsewhere: offensive line, defensive depth, maybe another weapon. Now let's zoom out and compare this to other quarterback rumors. Yes, the Vikings have also been linked to Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. But that move would likely require significant draft capital and major cap gymnastics. GENO Smith, on the other hand, represents a calculated, controlled risk. He's experienced, he's steady, and he wouldn't require mortgaging the future. And Vikings fans, let me ask you this. Do you want a flashy, high-risk swing? Or do you want a stable veteran who can guide the offense while the team builds for sustained success? This is where the Minnesota Vikings front office has to balance patience and urgency. The NFC North isn't slowing down. Every move matters. Every dollar matters. The next couple of weeks are going to move fast. Free agency decisions, potential cuts, draft positioning, it's all about timing. If GENO Smith becomes available, the Vikings will need to act quickly. So here's the big question. Would you welcome GENO Smith to Minnesota as a bridge quarterback? Or do you think the Vikings should push all their chips in on a different option? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. I want to hear from you, Vikings Nation. Do you see this as a smart, strategic move, or a temporary patch that delays the inevitable? If you enjoyed this breakdown of the latest Noticias dos Minnesota Vikings news, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with every Vikings fan you know. The quarterback dominoes are about to start falling, and we're going to cover every single move together. Skol!